Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first round of Scrolls Invitational. My name is JoyfulRogue and I bring to you a game between 11.5ft, Mateusz Roszkowski from Poland playing Order, and Kritikal, Gary Aw from Canada playing Growth. Let's kick this replay off. Both players have very interesting decks. 11.5ft Order with 56 scrolls in his deck, and Kritikal also 56 scrolls in his deck. They are both accepting that this is the first round. Of course, a little bit of formality over here. It's a very interesting fact. Both players playing 56 scrolls in their decks, to which most scrolls players would freak out that it's bad and there should be 50. But think about it. They have to play one single deck for the entire tournament. And that means they need a little bit more flexibility than you normally would need, because they will be facing against very different opponents. And if they got only one deck to play with, they may as well include some additional scrolls. Both players are playing Potion of Resistance, for example. 3 Potions of Resistance in both players' decks. Kritikal is starting with an early Vater of the Wild, and unfortunately 11.5ft doesn't have a Kabonk, which means this Vater will get away with being alive. This is really bad for 11.5ft because Kritikal was the starting player, and if you're the starting player and you've got a Vater that stays alive, you can bring in the veterans and the Great Wolf so much faster. It's gonna be really hard for 11.5ft to deal with it. As you can see, 11.5ft has a really good starting hand. He can play a Spearman on turn 3, and then a Skirmisher, and then a Scholar, a very good mana curve. Normally, you would be very happy to have this hand, but I bet you that 11.5ft really wishes he had Kabonk instead of these units right now. He really needed to get rid of this Vater now. For all we know, Kritikal could be playing a Great Wolf right now, and that's what he's gonna do. He's gonna drop this Great Wolf, and even though 11.5ft has a really nice composition of units, he will not be able to keep up with all that Kritikal will be throwing at him so fast. The Growth deck really gets out of control with an early Vater. Look at this, 11.5ft is getting great cards. He's got the best cards you could hope for. Blessing of Haste, Focus, units every turn. Everything looks great for him, but it's still not enough to deal with what Kritikal is throwing at him. Not enough to deal with a Great Wolf. He could have a Mangy-Wolf next turn, he could have a Veteran, and that's exactly what Kritikal is gonna do right now. He's gonna throw a Veteran on the field, killing that Spearman. Look at all this all this raw power that Kritikal is throwing. This Vater allowed him to play it even earlier, and 11.5ft is really struggling to deal with it. He's gonna have to run away with this Skirmisher unless he draws a Focus. Will he draw another Focus? Nope, another Blessing of Haste. He will not need to. If he moved down and used the Blessing of Haste, it's not gonna be enough. He cannot deal enough damage to kill this Great Wolf. He has to run away. Now, there's gonna be a really interesting decision from Kritikal. He has Pother in his hand, Kritikal, right now, and he could Pother this Skirmisher down and kill him, but instead, he's gonna decide to go down himself and to start hitting idols instead of units. He's gonna race 11.5ft for an idol kill, instead of focusing on units and board control. And this is gonna be a really good decision for him. I completely agree that at this point, you just go for the idols. You just go for the idols because Order is known for a really strong late game, but kind of okay-ish mid game. Now Kritikal is dominating the mid game, and he will use that domination to kill the idols before 11.5ft can recover, before he can play generals with speed, before he can play Imperial resources. Now all that 11.5ft can do is just buy time, throw Spearmen on the field, protect his idols the best he can, and hope to survive until the late game where he may be coming back. Now Kritikal has a Mangy-Wolf now, top decking a Mangy-Wolf from his hand. He's got all the lucky cards right now. Kritikal has gotten extremely fortunate with his card draws. Vater that survives, and then 2 Great Wolves, and then a Mangy-Wolf and a Veteran as well. He has all the lucky draws he needed to crush 11.5ft in this game. Look at this. 11.5ft had everything that he could hope for except for Kabonk. He had units with a good mana curve, he has generals, he has speed, he had haste, he had focus, he had flip, he had everything, and he still cannot keep up with this raw power of growth. Growth can get really out of hand if the growth player has lucky draws in the early game, and that's exactly what you're seeing right now. Look at this, even Imperial Resources in 11.5ft's hand, and he cannot play it. He has no time to play it. All he can do is play a Blessing of Haste flip to snipe one of the Great Wolves, but it's not gonna be enough. He's got another... Kritikal has another Great Wolf, he's got a Veteran, he's got a bunch of units. There are so many ways in which Kritikal can win now. He could play a Rally Crimson Bull, he could play a ton of more powerful units like another Great Wolf, which is gonna do right now. He could play another Veteran, he could just keep whacking at that bottom idol, and 11.5ft will be forced to throw units just to protect the idol, which means he will not deal enough damage to be killing Kritikal's units, and he will be falling more and more behind. Look at this, another Great Wolf. How do you deal with this as an Order player? I don't see the way to actually come back from this position for 11.5ft. It's so tough. Two Great Wolves. If Kritikal plays another Mangy Wolf next turn, he wins. In fact, he will win without anything unless 11.5ft can delay him long enough. Maybe a Mangonel Speed would be very good for 11.5ft, but he doesn't even have resources to play Mangonel Speed Focus. He doesn't even have enough resources. All he can do is throw this general, protecting the idol, and hope to God for something to happen, something to save him. He throws the general. Unfortunately, Kritikal is just gonna pother him out of the way. As you can see right now, he sacrifices for resources, for order, pothers the general out of the way. A 66% chance of success, I believe, and then he just kills the idol for a very quick finish in the first round. Kritikal takes the game with a very powerful early game, very lucky draws, and everything beautifully executed. Great decision to stop going for units, start going for idols, and Kritikal takes the game. Let's see who takes the next one. This has been JoyfulRogue, bringing you a series between 11.5ft and Kritikal. Stay around for the second game of the series.